It's that time of year again, and it's not the time of leaves falling around down the trees and stuff like that, but it is time to learn Java episode number 2. We're coming back. We're about to learn some new cool features. I'm assuming you've watched my first episode on printing to the screen. If you did not, make sure you go and check that out right now. It's really nice, amazing video. Highly recommend it. But I left you guys on a little cliffhanger. I left you guys on that challenge, making sure you guys have that back in your repertoire. If you did not finish it, please go ahead and do so right now. I'm about to give you the solution. Yeah, so I kind of didn't realize that I explained this for so long. So if you already have the solution, or if you do not want to see the explanation, just go ahead and skip to 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Thank you. But if you were stumped and you're looking for that good old cheese, that cheese whiz in the kitchen that your brother did not steal from you already. Alright, so public class. We're going to change this one to variety of variables. As you guys can see, we're already jumping into the next episode already. Okay? Open up those puppy ears. Got that first step all taken care of. Next, you want to do public static void main string args. Got to get those brackets. All right. So you guys might be looking at it, might be saying, hey, that might look a little different, might look a little same. The brackets could be here right after string, or it could be right after args. Either way works. Whatever floats your boat. Answer is not buoyancy. All right, so yeah, you guys should be looking like me right here. Looking good, right? Looking great. Well, wait, first off, let me just notice the size. You like the size? I made it a little bit bigger. I know the last episode it was kind of small. You know, you gotta be able to see that sucker without a microphone. Microscope. System.out.print line or print. Either one works because we're doing one line here. Okay, so it could look like print or print ln, whatever you like. First step, we're printing a string. Make sure you have those quotes in there. Okay. Now we want I learned the escape character in quotes. This is the first common misconception. Maybe somebody did this. I learned this escape. Oh, sorry. I learned the escape character. Backslash. Somebody might have done this. They might be like, hey, I did it. I knocked that sucker out. Save that sucker there. And you might get something like this. Whoop. Error, right? You might have gotten this. You might have seen this. And this is why. That escape character is trying to allow you to use the backslash here, which is invalid. Okay, so you would have to add another backslash, or another quote, sorry, after it, right? Then when you compile it, that sucker disappears. But this is another problem right here. If we run this, we look in the bottom here, I learned the escape character, and then the quotes. It doesn't look right. What happened? All right, let's go learn it. So you see this backslash here, backslash, and a quote. That allows you to type a quote. So what we need in the front is another backslash, but we need a quote in front of it. So now when we run it, it should look like this. Boom, I learned the escape character, and then another quote, but we're missing the escape character. How do we get an escape character here? Craziest part here, I don't think you guys were ready for this one, but if you use an escape character and you use another fudge and escape character, what do you get? You get a backslash trying to compensate with the backslash. It's like when you're trying to build a pie and you forget to put the crust on, but then you have to put some other mashed potatoes and I mean, as you can tell, I'm not a baker. All right, so you compile that stuff and you run that sucker and boom, that's the solution. That's my solution. Pass it down, put that in the cookbook. That's it right there. Take a picture, put that on Snapchat, put that on your story. So now moving in to episode 2, we are learning, as you can tell from the title here, a variety of variables. What is a variable? What? So let's move on here, okay? So a variable, okay? Variable allows you to store a name in memory that you can use it as a reference of a value or an object later in your code. Okay, so what does that mean? So basically, if you think about a computer here, you need to put all these packets of memory and all that crazy jazz. It needs to go somewhere, and you need to be able to restore it back and be able to know what's what. So if you're playing a video game, you need to know what's save one and how all the values go back over. So to put that in perspective here, there are a couple different names here. You can make an integer, a double, a boolean, a string, a char. That sounds a little crazy, but let's just start here. So if you make an int, int, and you call it x, and then you put a semicolon, okay? So what is this here? First off, let's understand that this is something called a declaration statement. This allows you to reserve a space in memory to hold an integer, the bytes of how much space it takes to create an integer. So you could put that in quotes here. Int is the type, right? And x here is your identifier. How you call this back in data. X is the identifier. And remember, guys, we're making these backslashes here. These are your comments. These allow you to comment out things and such like that. Okay? I'm actually going to remove that stuff at the top to make it look a little bit more clean. All right. That is a declaration statement. So if we want to put a value into that x, we would have to make something called an assignment. Okay, so x equals 10 or 20. Okay, x equals 20. This is something called an assignment statement. What it means is that you're assigning x a value of 20. So an integer holds numbers, zeros, negatives, tens, 20s, all the different integer numbers, right? Integers. That's what that holds. Now there's something called a string, right? You want to put a capital S on there. String name. Now you might be really familiar with strings. I might have mentioned it in episode 1. What a string does is it holds words. So if I put name equals, and you put these in quotes this time, you could put your name and then always end it with the semicolon. Okay, so you declared so far an x and assigned it a 20. We declared a string called name, assigned it a name of Dan, or a string of Dan. So these are two very popular ones, and I'm going to end it with one more here that we're going to do. Okay, let's do a double. We're going to call it y. So we declared a double called y. Y is equal to, let's see if you can guess what this is. A double. You cannot, if you did not guess already. It is kind of like integers, but it holds extra numbers. It holds that decimal point. See, you can hold more than one value afterwards. You can hold as many as you like. See? So the only thing is, though, a double is more precise than an integer. It holds more precision after the decimal places. It's more precise of a value. Therefore, when you're trying to display money or any such like a cash register, they have to use doubles, because this would be $20.05. You need the difference between the two. It's more precise in that way. So now if we compile it, everything compiles successfully. And if you want to retrieve one of the values and print it to the screen, how do you think you would do it? So we're trying to print, so we're going to use that system.print value. And let's say we want to print the name. Let's try and get the name to print, right? How would we print it? Some of you guys might be on your keyboards already printing it just like this, and if I compile it, it should work. But that's not what we want to do. What if somebody else typed in a different value and then we don't know? So instead of putting Dan, if we look at it, Dan is equal to the name. So if you just use the variable called name, and you were to type it in here, system.out.println name, it compiles successfully and it prints Dan in the console. Okay, so that is what you can do with variables. You can call them at later access. Now, just like in math with numbers and such that you do in math class, we're to put these out really quick. So there's addition, which is a plus sign, subtraction, which is obviously a minus sign, multiplication, which uses an asterisk key or the star. Shift 8 gets you that. Then there is division, that is the /, and something called demodulus, or in parentheses I'm going to put remainder, so it's a little bit easier for some of you guys. And that is the % sign, shift 5. So we're going to test these out really quick. X is equal to 5. Okay, so we're going to reassign it to 5, and y. We're going to make something called int k, okay? And we're going to use this for math here. And k is equal to 10. So if we're going to use these values, and we're going to do k plus x, sorry, then you could do some math with this. However, we need to put this somewhere. We need to store this expression into something, like in math, right? But we're trying to print this out to the screen. So if we're to print this value, system.out.println k plus x. That's what we want to print. So k plus x, you guys are probably all screaming on your seats 15, right? So we'll run it 15. Perfect. Because it gets the 10 here and the 5 from here. Now you guys might be wondering, oh, you just set x to 20 up here, now it's set to 5. So you could always keep updating the value, and it will run whatever the very last initialization of that variable is. So one line above, I could put 6, and it's still going to be a 5 since 5 comes last. If I run it again, 15. See? So now if I were to do k minus x, this might be an easy one for you guys. You guys are probably screaming 5, which you would be right, 5. Now how about we do something like division, right? You guys should be able to do this one. 10 divided by 5, and that prints 2. Or the modulus, let's try modulus. K modulus 5, or remainder. So when you divide 10 divided by 5, how many are left over? You guys are probably like 0, because it goes into it evenly. Now, what's the point of printing this? Maybe you don't want to print it right away. So you can do something called storing it into another variable. We call something called int result. You declare an integer called result, and result is equal to k plus x, right? So now when you want to print, you can print results, and that will print 15. See, that is how you would store it into another variable and print it. So that is all I have for you today, guys. However, I'm going to leave you guys on another challenge. We need challenges in order to keep us going. Okay, so I want you guys to declare a variable of type double and assign it a value of 3 divided by 2. Now declare another value of type integer and assign it a value of 3 divided by 2. Print both of the values to the screen on separate lines and compare the results. What did you notice? Okay, and you're going to bring this question into tomorrow's assignment and see why doubles are more precise than integers. So this is a little bit of a self-discovery type challenge. There isn't going to be much to it. Just try this out, see what you get, and you should be amazed. Sure, we're going to be moving on to something called libraries and methods. We're going to be learning how to create these different things, and they are really cool, let me tell you. So this is, once again, I'm going to be signing out. Bring this to next episode, and I'll see you guys. Have a great one.